Welcome back to Coriel Creations Home Tours. Today I'm going to be showing you all the gallery wall running down the upstairs staircase. Here's a little taste of it. And I'm going to go kind of slowly so I can show you everything that I've done so far and everything that I plan to do in the future. So backing it up here to the top of the landing, we have this little tank which has Nyx inside. So he's our little night stalker. We call his tank Basilisk Bend. And right up there is a little diagram drawing from somebody who does a lot of reptile art of the species that he is, which is a Chihuahua gecko. And then this cabinet is pretty cool. I've shown it off in a previous video about the loft, but it has these two colossi on top from Prime 1. Inside here is a little Princess Mononoke display. These two center figures are from quite a while ago, and they're super hard to find at this point, unfortunately. This one was actually only from maybe a year ago. I really like that forest spirit. And over on this side is actually a mask that I made for my Princess Mononoke cosplay. Behind it is some art from an artist that I purchased at Artist Alley at Anime Expo years ago as well. And then coming back out of there, this is actually quite a bit of storage for us. So I love storage, as you probably all might be aware. And in here, I didn't even look to see, we've got Crayola. This is just a very disorganized space currently, but it basically has a bunch of craft projects that are currently in production. So like things that are half finished, things that are half done. Like this dragon has gotten a base paint and it's gotten put together, but that's what's in there. So the drawers below are actually pretty organized, full of craft supplies. Wait, I can actually open them so you can just kind of see. I use little bins and boxes for everything. And Ferrero Rocher bins and a label maker. So, yep, just lots of craft supplies. This cabinet's really cool though. I love the hardware on it. This especially reminds me of little eagle sort of details. It kind of reminds me of like Zelda stuff actually too. All right, moving on. So as we move towards the staircase, we have this quest board here with some quests that we are currently doing. Either they're in progress or, well, they're probably all in progress if they're all here, because the rest of them that we have finished are in this little book. So I will take them off of this board. I handwrite all of these and then I take them off the board once we finish them and pop them in this little book here. And then this little spot right here has a lot of very cute handmade art from some Etsy artists, as well as this little tea pet, which is actually my partner's favorite little guy in this entire space. So he pats him right here as he goes up and down the stairs. It's like a little funny little tradition. Some more little guys as well. That back there is a little tea pet, but these are little handmade creatures from Etsy. And then above it here is a quote from Samwise Gamgee from The Lord of the Rings. Another little handmade creature from Etsy. Get it back in there. This funny little carved dragon on top of a skull. We just thought this face was so funny. And then this right here, these little kodama were actually a gift from a friend. And then this little guy we got at a reptile show recently. Very cute. And then some more of the dragonfly pottery that I actually have around the loft that we got from the Renaissance Fair. And if you back it up, you can kind of see the full look of the stained glass, which is just a window film covering that I put on there. And then next to that, there's a little bit of art. So this is actually art from a Gwent card that I framed, and a little mirror to sort of open up the space a little bit more, to give it a little bit more depth. I actually really like to use mirrors to help sort of play with movement, because while you're walking, as you can see, it feels like there's movement and depth within a mirror. So I use mirrors all over the place to bounce light, to add the sense of more space, and that's one spot that I put one in. Below that is this little dryad creature, which I ended up painting, but it was on the Design Toscano website, or I think you might be able to get it on Amazon as well. And then moving up here, I put this little thing on top of this window, but I actually want to do a much nicer window treatment here. This is a very modern house, and so it has very modern styled windows, and I want to do something a little bit more old-fashioned eventually. And right here, this is just another little space filler piece, but it felt a little bit elven, so I decided to pick it up. As well as this little other Gwent card for Roach, Geralt's horse, that I printed out and framed. Below that here is Sting, and this is actually the one that glows. So you can kind of see the plastic of it. It's not actually metal, but that way the whole thing can glow blue. And throughout this loft space as well, we've actually changed out all of the little covers here for the light switches, as well as the ones here for the outlet. So all the outlet covers, all the light switch covers, we have traded out for this little pretty design, which I think is super cute, and that we also got on Amazon. Now, when we're gone from the house, you can kind of see there are these two little hook things right here. And when we leave the house, we actually roll this thing out here. So this guy right here, if you twist it and push it down, you actually pull this all the way across here, and it's essentially a baby gate, and that's for our dog so that she doesn't go upstairs while we're gone. And actually looking this way just for a second, since it's not the most interesting part, you can see there is a reptile tank here and a cabinet right there. And since the backs of those are kind of ugly, we've actually hidden them. So there's little like holes back there. We've hidden them with these little curtain rods with curtains. So you can kind of see here, this is actually just like a pressure rod, like you use for showers, or like inside of windows. But we got these little curtains here so we could just hide all of the cables, because there's a lot of ugly cables. So you just like pop this up. Ugh, ugly cables, don't want to see that. Now I kind of ruined it. It's actually a trick that I learned from my mom years ago, is she just would hide a bunch of stuff with curtains. And same thing up here, we actually put a little rod on top behind this cabinet. We just screwed some hooks in and popped a little curtain rod up there. And we have two curtains, one that goes across all the way, and then this one that just goes basically to the railing. And that way this one hides the back of this cabinet, which is just quite ugly. It just looks like a light piece of plywood. But most of the time as you're walking by, you just don't notice that kind of stuff. So, all right, time to finally go down the stairs and show you all of the pictures on this stairwell. So first I'm going to talk about this lighting here. These are 3 different little lights that we have hue lights set up in, and they can change their colors. This is just placed behind these cabinets, and since we actually didn't have the place for the base there, we have had to strap it to the railing so that it doesn't fall over. But that's this cool light. It is on Amazon, and I decorated it with some plants, but it lights the hallway pretty well. Over here, this window obviously also lights the hallway pretty well, but it is quite unattractive, and we haven't actually had a ladder to be able to get to it until literally this month. So you need a pretty tall ladder, I'll show you, to actually get all the way up there to put the window film on, like this window film over here. So I'm finally going to be able to do that very soon, but we still basically get to see our neighbor's house right next to us, and that just sucks. So definitely want to put some really pretty window film there, and then we don't have to see the real world. We can just look at our fantasy world. Okay, so next we're going to be going through a lot of these paintings and pictures. This one right here is actually a photograph of me and Tala dressed up for a little cosplay photo shoot where I was this sort of druidic elf in a forest and Tala was my wolf dog. And then down here, this piece is really beautiful from Dog and the Dragon artwork. She does incredible oil paints, and I love this print so much, so I bought a custom frame from Art to Frames. This right here is another piece. I honestly don't remember where I got it, unfortunately, but I printed it out specifically in a square because I found this frame at a thrift shop and I wanted something that fit in there. And then right here, this is actually just a little wooden sign that has been, carved into from Michael's during one of their Halloween sales. And below that, I have this little plant, this fake plant coming out of this little sconce thing here. And part of that is because I really like to break up pictures so it's not just rectangle, 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 rectangle. I really like having a little bit more sort of like interesting things at play on gallery walls, and I like filling spaces in different ways and with different shapes. So that's something that I decided to just kind of put here to help sort of break up sometimes the monotony that you get from doing something with just rectangle, rectangle, rectangle. And then same thing down here. This is actually a little mirror that I have 3 of these that I got from thrift shops. And what's fun about them is they're a long kind of shape, so they'll fit a space, sometimes like a little strange gap in between 2 pictures. And then also because they have the oval nature of the mirror itself inside, it gives a lot more like fun and interesting shape language that's going on. So, which you can kind of see over here as well. There's a lot of fun shape language happening with this piece, which is just a metal topper that I have. You can see these little hooks here. So I just used little cup hooks to hold it up, and it's resting on top of this map of Rochar that I made. And the frame that I got for this Rochar map is also from the thrift shop. A thrift shop somewhere, I don't know. There's not just one. I go to so many thrift shops. And then up here is another cool piece that I thought just fit the vibe of this space that I've had printed for years. And this is just a regular frame that I spray painted because I try to keep all the frames like similar color tones. So if a frame doesn't come in the right color, like this one also didn't come in the right color, I usually just spray paint it and then sometimes hand paint it. And then up here, this is basically, you can see this is as far as I was able to reach in this space. Up here, I can't reach at all, except now I can with the new ladder. But for now, I haven't put anything else up yet, so this is the highest piece right here. And you can see this woman, she is being carried by these little frogs in a parade. This is an Annie Stagg art. I love her work, so it's pretty cool and very whimsical, kind of like the upstairs loft area. So as we move further down, it gets a little bit more dark and medieval fantasy, which is what the downstairs actually is. So after this map of Rochar here, we have some cool lighting. Kind of want to focus on these two pieces. So they're actually just plug-in. They're not sconces that are put directly into the wall. And my partner installed them. I think they look pretty cool. And then the cables are kind of hiding behind a lot of the either the plant spines or behind the actual frames themselves, kind of all coming over here and then being plugged in on this side. And then below here on this side, just so I don't forget this side, we have some maps here. I printed out this map for when we did our Shadow and Bone party. And then over here, this is a Westeros map, which this one is actually fabric, which is cool. This one I had printed by Vistaprint on a board. So a lot of things are printed on board here. As you can see, I don't use glass in almost any of these. So a little bit anti-glass, except for, of course, mirrors. Those need to be glass. But this frame, again, is just another spray painted frame, as is this one. And then moving back to this side, and below Rochar here, is this beautiful little piece with a woman and her lion. I have always enjoyed this because I think she looks so glamorous while she's just cuddling with this very fuzzy lion. And then moving up again, a couple pictures here. We have me dressed up. We have me dressed up here with Oliver, the cat that I used to live with my ex. And right here, I have another beautiful framed piece by the Dog and the Dragon. Her stuff is incredible, and you can see there's like a little bit of a dragon here on the side. But I love her oil paintings, and what's great is this is another thrifted frame, which was a very bright gold, and I actually repainted a lot of it so that it could be this color. Next to it is a piece of art that I got from an anime expo from the artist years ago. I really like this sort of caged bird thing, and I had this displayed in my room back when I lived with my parents, so that's how long I've had that. And below that is another Gwent card art for a unicorn, but it's a very creepy looking unicorn, but I like it. And this is just a little frame, so these frames are usually easy to find at thrift shops or on Marketplace, and I paint them. This one I did not paint, but this one I painted. This one I painted a bit. And then below here, let's see, going from here to here, we have another Gwent card art again with a frame that I painted to kind of match the art on the inside. And then this really cool piece, which is a little dagger that I got off of Facebook Marketplace. I'm not sure the origin of this dagger, like who actually made it. I should probably look it up, but I just really liked it, and it's just easy to actually take off of here as well. So, you know, as you're running down the stairs and there's a bad guy down there, you just grab this and run. No, I'm kidding. There's so many better weapons here in this house. And then up here is another cosplay print in this beautiful Arm Street dress. This was actually my first studio shoot with Mark Edwards, and I loved this shoot so much, and we worked so well together that we've been working together ever since. This was a few years ago, and he's actually the photographer who shot this one of me and Oliver in my house, my old house, as well as that one of me and Tala. So you can kind of see going back this way too. It's kind of nice to just look around and see all of these behind. Oh, and there's another one of his. So he also shot this Tris, and I thought it was so beautifully lit. I thought it was just so nicely done, and it kind of fit the vibe here that I decided to have it printed pretty large actually, specifically for this frame's dimensions. So I already had this frame that I got from a thrift shop, and I was like, I need something that can fit in there. And since all of the cosplay prints that I have are very high res, instead of trying to take something else or find something else that was that high res, I decided to print this piece out. So I think it looks really cool. And because it's very sexy, I decided to put something that was a lot less sexy of me underneath it to kind of help balance it. So right below it is me as Gandalf. And this is also another Mark Edwards piece as well. I think he just lights things so beautifully. It feels like a painting to me. And so between the two of these, you have, you know, the cosplay range here, which I think is really fun. But oftentimes people don't even recognize that any of these are photos of me. They just kind of see them as character art as they walk up and down the stairs. So I think that's really nice. It kind of hides it, and sort of they blend into the house. And then right here, in order to fill this little space between this mirror and this stuff, it's like this weird little triangle space. So this is kind of doing it for now. It's this little 3D wolf head, which is the Witcher symbol. And then below that is another map. This one is one that I made. So I designed this map of Prythian, which is from the book series Court of Thorns and Roses. And then right next to it is this map that I've had for many years of Middle-earth in a frame that I also got from a thrift shop. And this one I didn't have to paint. It just was already the right kind of colors, which was great. And then I just kind of draped ivy around, although it's getting a little crazy. Unfortunately, when I was sticking this map to the board behind it, it's a very cheap paper, and so as you can see in this, you can see like some of the bubbling, and that's not ideal, but I don't know, maybe one day I'll replace it. But it is not this day. This again is printed on a board, since I tend to just print everything on boards so that I don't have to mount them and I can just go no glass. Same with this and that, boards. Let's see, this one was mounted, this is printed on a board, printed on a board, printed on a board, printed on a board, printed on a board. Ah yes, we haven't gotten to this one yet. You might recognize this frame style, so I also have this frame for that piece way up there, the Annie Stag, and for that little dragon piece right there. I really like this frame style. It's from Art to Frames, and it ends up looking really pretty, and it's like a really good, I think, thickness. I'm kind of a stickler for frame thicknesses, depending on like what size of art is on the inside. So like if something, like if this piece right here had a frame that was like this thick, I'd be like, no, too thick. So it's very much about figuring out the right ratio of frame for each piece. So this one has a thicker frame, but it's a larger piece. So, yes. I'm sure I could maybe make some sort of like an art Bible or something that actually has like the dimensions that I prefer for the ratio. Right now I just kind of do it all visually. And then here, as you're walking down the stairs, you can see I have these dragon eggs, which are eggs that I made years ago. They're made out of these little Easter plastic eggs that I covered in scales made of foam and with some clay and painted. And then I have this piece right here, which didn't have the background in it, but it was a light wood too, so I stained the wood, I spray painted all of the metal pieces, which were all like a silver, and then I stapled on this photo backdrop, actually, that has the tree and the little river and everything. And so I made it kind of into a window of some sort. Ideally, I put lights in it eventually, and so I have this like light up. That would, I think, be really cool and add some more lighting to this hallway. But for now, that's what it looks like. And then in the future, I have all of this space up here that I want to do some like tapestries. We've seen some really cool dragon heads that I was thinking would be really fun to put there, like as a big dragon head mount. But yeah, lots of really fun options for more art up there. And also, as the walls go up, I usually make it so the art gets bigger as well, since it will be farther away from people's eyes, so it's harder to see detail. So I usually do bigger art farther away. So that's why that's like bigger. And then as you get closer and closer to people's eye line, that's when you get these sort of smaller pieces. So, and like this down here is actually, you can see my hand. It's not too big. I think that's just an 11 by 17. So, and then we're almost done. As we're coming down, oh, and this, usually I have like a little sign here, and you can see the little screws, but I don't have the sign yet, so I want to make a new one, actually, that's like my year-round sign, because often I have one for like holidays, but I've taken them off because it's no longer a holiday, so I need to make a year-round sign that says something. If any of you guys can think of what I should write there, actually, that'd be really cool. I'd love to hear your ideas, you know, like maybe not like an enter if you dare, but, you know, like welcome to something, or I don't know, adventure awaits, or who knows. I haven't figured out what to write there yet. And again, this right here is actually the cover of The Way of Kings, which is one of my favorite books by Brandon Sanderson, and it's sort of matching up there. That's the Roshar map, and so this right here is the Shattered Plains in Roshar, and it's a really cool fantasy series, so if you haven't read the Stormlight Archive yet, I highly recommend checking it out, especially now that it's done for the first 5 books. And then lastly down here is just another little mirror. So again, same thing. I like putting mirrors around and things that are kind of reflective here. So you can see I had the mirror there, the mirror there, mirror there, and then back down here, another mirror as you like walk by. So you can kind of, this one, as you're walking by on the stairs, it's almost at eye level, and so you can kind of like check your face to make sure there's nothing weird going on, I don't know, as you're like walking down before you see people. And then down here, this is the sort of end of this little cute hallway, but I can show you a little bit more, I suppose, is this cool little curtain here that I put up. I put these pieces up, and behind here, oh, it's just, oh, reality, ugly reality. No, we don't want that. So we cover it with curtains. And I have little, like, little things kind of hiding in here. And then down here, I have this brickwork that I have around the house that I got when I was a kid, and I spray painted as a kid into this like castle brick, and they're just these pieces that my mom found on the side of the road that were just like broken red bricks that I've been using as castle ruins ever since, and moving from house to house. And then here's this really cool mirror that I also got on Facebook Marketplace. It was a weird bright gold, and I painted it a sort of very muted, like dark gunmetal or pewter. But, I mean, in the lighting here, it's hard to tell kind of what color it is anyway. So, because this light is pretty intensely orange right now, but this one can change any color. It is another hue light, just like a lot of the lights I've shown you guys. And this all just kind of goes into the pirate bathroom, which I can show you guys in another video. But entering the pirate bathroom, you get the two little mermaids there. And then on this side, some Witcher art. Again, some more Witcher art. And then swords and all sorts of little fun things. So I'll have to show you guys this stuff in the future because it's not really part of this stairwell. But let me just do one last little spin around here. So you can kind of see what it feels like walking up the stairs. All right, so we'll do one last little walk up the stairs here. Nice and slow. So you can kind of get the vibe of what it feels like. And most of the stuff just kind of starts blending in to each other. But I like having the breakups in little fun shapes here. As you go up, like so, you're kind of staring at this really pretty cabinet, which has all that arts and crafts storage that I showed you at the beginning. And this has the no admittance except on party business sign, which is kind of fun. Sometimes you can put it on this little gate. And that's that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little tour. Sorry, I've been feeling a bit under the weather, so my voice is kind of strange today, but that's okay. I made a video. Thanks for watching.